being in a congregation that is honest and open about issues regarding white privilege and needing to combat that and racism makes it more real to me in terms of dealing with all of the other principles. Because if we're not going to deal with the 8th principle, then, you know, everything else that you tell me about the 7th principle, you know, is really not ringing true to me. To me, that's just something that has to be dealt with. Try to find another UU congregation. I would be looking for one that had the 8th principle, because otherwise it's too hard. I mean, being around in a congregation where there's an 8th principle means that I'm around like-minded people, and I can be more comfortable and feel like we're all working on issues that include everybody, you know, and it's something that happens, you know, all day, every day, you know, 24/7, you know, throughout the year. It's not just on Black History Month.
The main difference it made for me is that I knew intuitively that I was very well loved in my congregation. But for them to adopt the 8th principle was a tangible expression of that love. They gave me a stick to crack them across the head, because it means now I can hold them accountable for doing the work of the 8th principle. And the fact that not only did they adopt the 8th principle, but began immediately doing the work of the 8th principle. And I've seen changes in the congregation, in the attitudes and in the minds of the members of the congregation. It has given me a brand new congregation. Wow. that I feel a part of. And it's my congregation. And we can work through our differences. So it's been magic for me.
For me, it is the difference between just kind of resting on our laurels and actually taking action. I think some of the reasons why I've heard that certain congregations have not adopted it is that they feel that the other principles cover it, but it doesn't. It absolutely does not cover it, because that 8th principle is about action. It's about dismantling racism. That takes action. And it talks about doing it within the institution. And that's our institution. And so it's about doing the work that needs to be done, that you think you're doing, but you're not really doing. And so by you adopting this principle actually shows that you really do love and care about the community. So you say that you want more people of color to come, that you don't understand why we're not there, that you want us there. You don't understand why we used to be there and we're not there anymore. Well, if you are not adopting this principle, or you're voting on this principle or voting against it, then I cannot comprehend why congregations have voted against this principle. That to me is going against every single one of the other principles. That's not love. This is action to me. When I found out that our congregation that we have to kind of even have this whole long discussion and this long plan about it, I literally am like, why do we even have to talk about it? It should just be like, we talk about it one Sunday and everybody says yes.
I think it's twofold. One is, I love that Dorian mentioned the word accountable. And Paula, I know in your presentation, you talk about accountability. And I also know that that word tends to turn people off. And I think that that says something. The fact that that word is so alarming to people. I hope that we all hold each other accountable for the 8th principle and the other principles. I want that for myself. I want others to hold me accountable. I want to hold myself accountable. So to me, this gives a framework. It gives a framework to talk about things explicitly instead of letting things happen and keeping them quiet and keeping them having people of color talking about it in our groups, and then I don't know what happens in the other groups, but I think that it gives us permission to really call it out. So when we experience these parts of white supremacy culture that come out in our meetings, in our groups, in our services, that we can actually say, hey, this is happening. Remember the 8th principle, and we can hold each other to that. So that's one piece. And then the other piece for me personally is that it gives me hope that we will truly be a multicultural faith. And that, I get so much when I go to our drum events, and I've only been virtually because I didn't know. I spent 3 years in a small fellowship and didn't know about drum, was never told. And so I sat there and experienced services where it was, we white people need to do this and we white people need to do that. And sometimes, and not even that enough, but I would go, am I invisible? That's not me. You're talking to a group and that's not including me. And didn't even know that there was such thing as drum. So when I did, and I finally got to attend, I was like, yes, this is it. I felt at home, and I do feel at home because, and especially being a mixed race person, I know what it means to bring different cultures together, whether it's musically, spiritually, beliefs-wise, all of those things. So there's a hope for me that we really are building the beloved multicultural community. And I know how good that's going to be for everyone.
Thank you, Leah. So DRUM is DRUUMM, Diverse and Revolutionary Unitarian Universalist Multicultural Ministries. And so it's been around for a while. You can look it up on the internet, but it's the community of people of color. We also, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And we also have BLUU, BLUU, which is Black Lives of Unitarian Universalists.